right, folks, we are back here on WLTH 1370M. That is 92.7 in the FM dial. It is 6:46 in the PM here on February the 13th, 2026. The future's here. The future is now. And the future is not looking so good for Generation Z. Which means it really ain't looking good for any of us, because as the great Randy Watson reminded us with his great band Sexual Chocolate, the children are our future. You know, and it's not looking so good. Neuroscientists have revealed that this generation, Gen Z, they're the first generation since records have began being kept to be less intelligent than their parents, and an expert has uncovered the reason. Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath, who is a former teacher turned neuroscientist, revealed that the generation born between 1997 and the early 2010s has been cognitively stunted by their over-reliance on digital technology in school. This is yes, that's just bad. That's just bad right there. Since records have been kept on cognitive development in the late 1800s, Gen Z is now officially the first group in history to score even lower than the generation before them, declining in attention, in memory, in reading, in math skills and problem-solving abilities, and overall IQ. Horvath told the U.S. Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation that Generation Z intelligence dropped despite these teenagers and young adults spending more time in school than children did in the 20th century. He said the cause is directly tied to the increase in the amount of learning that is now carried out using what is called educational technology, or EdTech, which includes computers and tablets. And I haven't been to school in many years, many years. But from everything I have heard is that young people in classrooms are basically being given tablets and laptops by the schools. I don't know how true that is, but I've heard that at least in some schools they are giving these kids what is called EdTech, or educational technology. Okay? And they are trying to relate to these children on their level. It's almost like when I was growing up, they brought up ebonics, and they tried to teach the kids using language that they knew as opposed to trying to teach them proper language. And that didn't really work either. And this is one of the reasons why I've said for many years that teacher is the most important job, the most important occupation in the world. You don't get doctors without teachers. You don't get lawyers without teachers. You don't get the president without a teacher, even though I think our current president probably needed better teachers. Just saying. You don't get it. Everybody who makes our world go, they all had to go to school. And they all had to be taught by somebody. Please do not give me a doctor who's never been to school. Do not send me to that guy. Hell, I don't even want a police officer who's never been to school. We've talked about this many times before on this show. How many police officers in this country are allowed to become police officers with 6 months of training and just being over the age of 18? 500 hours, I believe, is basically the minimum requirement here in the United States. Whereas you have other countries in Western Europe where the police have to train for 5,000 hours and go to college for 3 years. That's sort of different, you know. I don't want anybody doing anything that didn't go to school. And so a lot of this, we have declared war on teaching and teachers, really going back to No Child Left Behind, the Bush administration, or maybe even before that. You know, the right in this country have always had a hard-on for teachers and teaching. because, you know, well, when we did Ronald Reagan, we talked about Ronald Reagan as one of history's greatest monsters on my in my segment, history's greatest monsters. We talked about Ronald Reagan and the reason that they did not want higher education to be available to working class and poor people, and it was because people who were educated did not want to fight the wars, like Vietnam and other wars, and they did not support wars often. And so again, there's been almost a full-on blitz against public education in this country, anti-intellectualism for many decades now, and we are seeing the consequences through ed tech. The neuroscientists also explain that this generation has fallen behind because of the human brain was never wired to learn from short clips that are seen online and reading brief sentences that sum up much larger books and complex ideas. We see this all the time. I call it going to Wikipedia University, or going to YouTube University, or Google University. A lot of these young people have never been to any real university or even real high school. They went to Google University, YouTube University, Wikipedia University, where they get a summary of something that is far more complex. More than half of the time a teenager is awake, half of it is spent staring at a screen, Horvath told the New York Post. Humans are biologically programmed to learn best through real human interaction, meaning face-to-face with teachers and peers, not from screens. That might be why Duolingo is not teaching me Spanish. Like, I've been trying for like 5 years, and man, Duolingo is not coming through for the boy. I might need to hire a teacher. He added that the screens disrupt the natural biological processes that build deep understanding, memory, and focus. Hold on, callers. It is not about poor implementation, inadequate training, or the need for better apps in school. Scientists said the technology itself was mismatched with how our brains naturally work, grow, and retain information. A group that shares brain and behavioral he is the director of LME Global, a group that shares brain and behavioral research with businesses and schools, and said that the data clearly shows that the cognitive abilities began to plateau and even decline around 2010. That is when smartphones became ubiquitous in all of our lives, around 2010. The expert told senators that schools in general hadn't changed much that year and that human biology evolves too slowly for it to have been the reason. The answer appears to be the tools that we are using within the schools that drive learning. If you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in school, performance goes down drastically. He added that the U.S. wasn't the only wealthy country affected by digital cognitive decline, noting that his research covered 80 countries and showed a 6-decade trend of poor learning outcomes as more tech entered classroom. To learn from other humans and deep study, not from flipping through screens for bullet point summaries. Moreover, kids using computers for just 5 hours a day, specifically for their schoolwork, scored noticeably lower than those who rarely or never use tech in class. In the U.S., data from the National Assessment of Educational Progress uncovered that when states rolled out widespread one-to-one device programs, meaning each student gets their own device, scores often flattened or dropped quickly. While centuries of data have shown that Gen Z has fallen off the path of constant human development, Horvath claimed that many teens and young adults were unaware of their struggles and were actually proud of their alleged intelligence. He said most of these young people are overconfident. Yes, they are. If you talk to some of these younger people, some of them, not all of them. I've met some cool young people, but I'm just saying, like, especially online. Most of these young people are overconfident about how smart they are. The smarter people think they are, the dumber they actually are. He noted that Gen Z has become so comfortable with consuming information outside of class through short attention-escaping sentences and video clips on platforms such as TikTok that many schools have given in and now teach in the same manner. What do kids do on computers? They skim. So rather than determining what we want to do, what we want our children to do, and gearing education towards that, we are redefining education to better suit the tool. That's not progress. That is surrender, he warned. Education experts at the January hearing recommended imposing delays on giving children smartphones, bringing back flip phones instead for young children when needed, and taking nationwide action to normalize limits on tech in schools. The group called the issue plaguing Gen Z a societal emergency and urged federal lawmakers to consider models like Scandinavia's EdTech bans. Wow, that is absolutely harrowing, and with very, very dangerous consequences for the next generation. Let's get some of these calls. Hello, caller. What's up?
Hey, I was just going to say the very people you mentioned, the Swedish, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, we have now imagine one of our major things with immigration is HYVs, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's brains. We need brains, right? We want to import brains. Well, that's been a problem since the 70s because corporations really took over the idea of what education is supposed to be, and they start training to memorization. They start focusing on memorization and discipline more than anything else. They eliminated the arts as much as they could and focus on what they want you to focus on, which is memorization and obedience.
Right.
Essentially. And so we have to have all these degrees from, we have to enlist students from all over the world so they can fulfill our academic needs, because we have chosen for a long time ago not to excel in linguistics and understand, let's say, basic biology. Instead, we were focused on beliefs and ideas, what the institution wants you to believe, which is codified in these institutions. It's just,
exactly.
Wow, I'm sad.
I agree with you. Thank you for your call, brother. I got another one.
Yeah, man.
Hello, caller. What's up?
Hey there. I hate people beating up on young people. I think that's been going on for a long time. But let me give you a confounder. So, what was the ages of the people that were tested? Again.
Let me look. Let me see if it's. He said Gen Z.
Okay, I would say, to be fair, I think we're all getting stupider. I'll say stupider.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
I just want to just say, if you don't put it out there like that, I'm looking for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So I don't like for people to beat up. I'll tell you what, when an emergency happens, you see how people rise to the occasion.
Yes.
So, and we can rise together or we can hang separately. I plan on rising together. So that's my plan, and I know there's more things that I don't know than what I do, and I've lived a long life. And I'll live longer, God willing, and the creek don't rise. So just putting a couple confounders in there. Don't beat up on our young people.
Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm saying we need to do better by them. We're recognizing that some of the things that we've implemented in education are not only are they not working, they are actually doing harm to our young people, and we need to stop.
Well, we've been doing that for a long time because if you think about it, they don't know the struggles that we've been through. Did we really save them from it? No, we're just dooming them to something a little bit off kilter eventually. If we didn't teach them all the right way about how to organize their community for their community's benefit, then we have really failed miserably. So I just want to put that out there. I've got some stuff to do, but thank you for hanging
thank you so
thank
much
you
for your call.
phone.
Please feel free to call back anytime.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yes, folks, we got to do better. We got to do better by these young people. We and Gary, we're finally getting our schools back in order. And a lot of people, and look, I'm not going to lie. For many years, I believed in ed tech as well. I think a lot of us thought, man, all these rich schools got computers in their class. Man, our kids don't have any of that. They got all this tech. Man, come to find out that there is really nothing better than a teacher and a book when it comes to learning and teaching our kids. Who would have thunk it? All right, folks, when we get back, because this first hour of the show has been so heavy, we're going to celebrate. It's time for the Happy Happies. We'll be right back after these here on Straight Out the Cannon with me, Scott Cannon, here on the Region's Choice, the People's Voice, WLTH 1370 AM. That is 92.7 in the FM dial. Be back if you dare.